Hey everybody. Now that the dust has settled a little bit, I wanted to come in here and do a bit of a deeper dive into what's going on with this Bears team right now. That's the thing about my videos is they're all so off the cuff. I record these videos right after the games for the most part, and because of that, um, I'm very disorganized. So now that I've had a couple days to kind of gather my thoughts on things, I want to make another video kind of talking about what is going on with this Bears team right now and what can we expect in the future. I have not been on social media at all since the season started, and I'm very happy about that because in my previous experience and from what I've heard, the fan base is just in complete shambles right now. And that's what always happens with these Bear seasons. You look back at my the last 2 years that I've been doing. This is my third season, and the last 2 years, around week 2, week 3, I've made a video trying to make sense of the Bears' horrible start to the year. Last year, we were 1-2. We lost to the Colts. We looked awful against the Titans, and we lost to the Texans. And then year before that, we lost to the Buccaneers, and then we got blown out by the Packers in week 1. So both of those videos, I remarked how the fan base was kind of ready to riot because they had all these expectations, and then the season started really bad, and then they just start like, oh, it's so bad. The Bears fan base is extremely toxic to be around, especially when you're deep in the circle like I was. Not anymore, but at one point I was. It was all encompassing. It was miserable. They're a miserable bunch to be around when the Bears are bad, which is a lot. I think also it has to do with that this season had higher hopes than some of the other ones we've had. And the last two have had pretty high hopes, but this one, Ben Johnson, Caleb Year 2, new defensive coordinator who we really liked, and to go out and to lose by 30, it's bad. It's bad. And something I've been seeing, a sentiment I've been at least getting the feeling of is people hating on Caleb Williams, Dennis Allen, and Ryan Poles. I would blame Ryan Poles the most of those three, but criticism of all of them is very fair. I'm not going to come in here, and this is what a lot of fans do that I really hate, is they'll always defend whatever the Bears are doing. And the Bears fan base does that a lot. But they'll always defend whatever happens. And it's so ridiculous to me to do that because the team isn't always right. When Ryan Poles drafted Colston Loveland, I was pretty vocal in my dislike of that pick in the Bears community. And I got a lot of pushback and a lot of hate and a lot of people saying, you think you know better than Ben Johnson? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I know better than these NFL execs, specifically Ryan Poles. And it always bothers me that Bears fans, they don't have their own opinions until things start to cave in a bit. Like right now. Now all of a sudden everybody's like, this sucks, Poles sucks, Ben sucks, Caleb sucks. But up until 2 weeks ago, it was kumbaya. Everybody loves everything the Bears are doing. We're going in a great direction. And the cracks in the foundation were there for those brave enough to see it. Some people may be a little overdramatic about it. Like, there were people out there that were not super high on this Bears team. I don't want to say I was high on them because our schedule was brutal, but I would medium temperature on them. I was like, I think they can win about 8 or 9 games. And I'm not going to lie, that might be out of the question now. It's been a rough go these first couple weeks. And that loss to the Vikings only looks worse as J.J. McCarthy continues to struggle. And then we gave up 52 to the Detroit Lions in 3 quarters. I think we were like 5 minutes into the fourth quarter. When they pulled their starters. And the problem with the fan base as a whole is up until now, they back everything the Bears do. They defend everything the organization does. And I get it. It doesn't feel good to criticize your favorite team and to think it's going in a bad direction. You only really can acknowledge it once it's staring you dead in the face. But you don't have to always agree with it. It reminds me of politics in a way that people always defend everything that their candidate or political party does, even though I think we all can agree that every political party doesn't adhere to your specific beliefs and what you want to happen. You don't have to align yourself with that. And politics, I at least get it because politics is kind of important. But for football, who's making you align everything you think with the Bears organization, with what they do? I don't understand. You don't have to do that. Case in point, this past draft, I did not like the Colston Loveland pick. I think the fan base kind of was like, oh, when the pick happened. And then within 10 minutes, they all talked themselves into it. And they were telling me I didn't know ball. They were like, you know better than Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson and blah, blah, blah. And 2 tight end sets and all that. And we have not seen the fruits of that at all thus far, of that pick. And that was a pick that I said in my last video was unnecessary, hasn't done well. We could have used that on other things like a D tackle, an edge, Omarion Hampton. We could have traded back. Adam Schefter said that there was trade calls coming in for Colston Loveland and that they all quieted down once he got taken. So me hearing that, and I go, okay, so we turned down potentially mid-round draft picks, probably at least one, depending on how far we move back. And then we could have moved back and still got an Omarion Hampton who went towards the end of the first. I mean, let's say we move back 10 spots. He's still there. That would fill a extreme need while also getting us more picks. That would have been great. Instead, they stood pat. They took Colston Loveland, who they did not need, and he hasn't done anything so far. Meanwhile, Omarion Hampton is lighting it up, and our running backs continue to struggle, and our D-line continues to struggle. And it's not just that pick. This Bears draft is shaping up to be a disaster so far. I get it, 2 weeks into the first year after, way too early to call it. However, Colston Loveland was the first pick. Luther Burden was the second pick. We had 3 second-round picks. Luther Burden, who is wide receiver 4 currently. Ozzie Trapilo, who is the backup left tackle. And our left tackle is Braxton Jones. Like, I feel like he's okay. Like, I don't know. If you're a second-round pick, you should at least show something. Like, I know they want to move on from Braxton Jones. Like, they were open about how that was a competition, and Ozzie Trapilo just couldn't do it. And then the third pick was Shamar Turner, who has not played a snap yet because he got hurt. And then I believe we took Ruben Hippolyte with our next pick, who also hasn't played a snap yet, and everybody thought was that pick was a reach. That pick could still be something. I heard he had a good camp. But I don't want to, this draft class is shaping up to be a disaster, and we had a top 10 pick and 3 second rounders, and none of them are making any impact. 3 of them aren't even starting. I don't even know if Colston Loveland is our starting tight end technically. I haven't seen the snap differential yet. That's bad. That's really bad. And now we're starting to see, okay, well, this team has a lot of holes still. We're spending to the cap, so the draft picks are what we needed to work out, and we're not giving ourselves a lifeline with these. And we extended Ryan Poles. This is not shaping up to be well. This is not looking like it's going to... I don't see the bones of a Super Bowl contender in this roster. I don't see an exciting young core of guys that are going to lead us to the future. I don't even see this team right now making the playoffs. If they do, they're not going to go anywhere. At very best, we're going to be like the Cowboys were. And at very worst, we're going to finish with 6 wins. And for a team spending to the cap that has been rebuilding since 2022, that's horrible mismanagement. There was nothing here in 2022. We had no big contracts. We sent every aging veteran away. We started basically from the ground up. The only guys that are left are Cole Kmet and Jalen Johnson. And what have we done? What has become of that? We started that rebuild in 2022. And most that we've gotten, I mean, and if you look at where it went wrong was hiring Matt Eberflus in the first place. In hindsight, yeah, that you could easily say that was a terrible choice, but even at the time, it was confusing for me. And it's only looking worse. It's looking like that cost us a bit of a window in hindsight, because 2023, we could have been a playoff team easily. They could have had the rebuild done after 1 year. We were a horrific choke, a 27-3 or 27-0 choke to the Broncos. A horrible fourth quarter, 5 minutes left collapse to the Lions. And a pathetic collapse against the Browns away from 10 wins in that season. We would have been the division champions because we would have swept the Lions, who won 11 games. You take that 1 win away from them, give it to us and the other 2. We're tied. We get divisional advantage because we swept them. We're the NFC North champions after 1 year of rebuilding. But because Matt Eberflus was our coach, and that costed us wins, we finished 7-10 and had a top 10 pick. And then we didn't even fire him after that. Let's say from the start they hired Kevin O'Connell, who I don't even think they interviewed. This team would be in a much better spot right now. Instead, not only did they hire Matt Eberflus, hold themselves back for 2 years, they didn't fire him after they held him back. Now this roster is built. It's supposed to be a playoff contending team. And instead we're having coaching issues and punting seasons like last year, where we fired Flus halfway through, got rid of everybody, just a flaming dumpster fire of a season. And now Ben Johnson is here. And he's got to take over this roster that was not built by him. It was built for somebody else. So now we have mismatches. Now we have guys getting sent out for Ben's guy that we don't need. Now we have clashing. Now, this offseason, we're going to need to make improvements, and we don't have the money for it, so we're going to have to send guys away. DeAndre Swift will probably be cut. Andrew Billings probably gone. Tremaine Edmonds hopefully cut. These guys are horrible contracts. Well, no, Andrew Billings is a good contract. But Tremaine Edmonds, Ryan Poles traded away arguably the best linebacker, at least top 3 linebacker in football, in Roquan Smith, because he didn't fit Matt Eberflus's scheme and because he wanted too much money. Traded away for a 2nd-round pick, used that on Javon Dexter, who is good, but he's not Roquan Smith. And instead of giving, I think Roquan Smith got like $22 million a year. He gave $18 million a year to Tremaine Edmonds, who has not played up to that pedigree. He's been exactly the same guy he was in Buffalo. Exactly the same. He is not, and I don't blame Tremaine Edmonds for playing like he's always played his whole career. I blame Ryan Poles for seeing that and going, yeah, let's pay him like a top 5 linebacker. Just ridiculous to me. And we extended Ryan Poles. And when I said that, when I reflected that I didn't like that they extended Ryan Poles because I don't think he's a good GM, I got a lot of pushback from people saying, no, he's a good GM. No, his only whiffs were the Claypool trade and a couple other things. No, it's fine. He's built a good roster. Look at all these players we like. And I think that's another problem with Bears fans is they're just as complicit in the Bears' lack. I've spoken it a lot about a lack of a culture or expectation of success that permeates throughout the Bears organization. And I think the fan base is just as complicit in that. When we traded away Justin Fields, a move that was the right move at the time, still is the right move, the fan base freaked out and said he wasn't the problem. And when I hear that, he wasn't the problem, that encapsulates to me the issue here. A guy being not the problem, waiting until somebody is the problem to get rid of them, is why the Bears don't achieve greater. It's why they didn't fire Matt Eberflus, and it's why we're in the spot that we're in right now. And it's why they hang on every quarterback or every head coach for just a little too long. I don't care if somebody's not the problem. We need people that are going to win us a Super Bowl. We need expectations of better. Look at what the best teams do. They get more out of less. Ryan Poles, people are content when he just meets expectations. Yeah, he has no gems after the second round. He has no good picks after that. But you can't expect that. Most of those picks don't work out. You can't expect that. I do expect that. I do. Because I want my team to win a Super Bowl, and finding good picks in the mid to late rounds is how Super Bowl winning teams do that. Look at the Eagles. Look at the Rams. The Rams built their entire team right now, who probably is at the very least going to win their division. They built off all of that, off mid to late round picks and UDFAs. So when I hear people say, Ryan Poles is not the problem, or Justin Fields was not the problem, or whatever, when you hear somebody say that, it always bothers me. Because if you aren't actively being the solution, you are the problem to me. And I want the Bears fan base to hold them to that standard. I want them to expect greatness and success, even though you have no reason to, because all you've gotten is incompetence. If you don't see a GM who has top 5 potential, I don't even think Ryan Poles is a top 15 GM. He's not even in the better half of the league. The alarm bells are ringing. You're replacement level. And instead, we're not even there yet. That's the problem with this roster. And that's the problem with the Bears organization. And it's also the problem with the fan base. They'll still defend Matt Nagy to this day. They'll still say Justin Fields wasn't the issue to this day. At this point, I'm kind of starting to change my tune on Caleb. I'm sure until the day he leaves, people are going to be bending over backwards, completing mental gymnastics to say, no, he wasn't the problem. It was this, that. I don't care about excuses. I don't want to hear excuses. I want to see results. I'm tired of the Bears letting any adversity get in their way. I love when I see teams that have adversity and still get over it, despite the adversity. Instead, the Bears fold and they use the adversity as a shield. I mean, right now, I don't love where things are heading. This rebuild is now off sync. Nobody's on the same page, it feels like. It feels like we're in win now mode, but this roster isn't going to win now. And now we have all these injuries. The bones of this roster was always going to be really strong defense that can hold it down while the offense gets it going. And I expected that. I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough. I think this Bears defense is good. I think we have good players. But now Jalen Johnson is hurt. Kyler Gordon is hurt. T.J. Edwards is hurt. Nahshon Wright is hurt. And the whole secondary, which is probably the best position group on the team, is our secondary, other than wide receivers, is now completely caved in. I think our only starting corner right now is Tyrique Stevenson, and he is bad. So, with the secondary in shambles, our starting linebacker, T.J. Edwards, is hurt. Our D-line is doing nothing. And the offense is still trying to get it together. This team is going to be lost. We only have so many gimme games before it's kind of too late to figure it out. We got to play Dallas, and we play the Raiders. And then after that, like, if you don't have it figured out by like week 5 or week 6, it's another lost season. And I'm not sure what they do with Caleb if he doesn't take a step forward this year. I don't see them moving on from him after this year. They'll probably give him another year in the Ben Johnson offense. But it's one thing for me if it's he's off the same page with his receivers, or he's throwing it to the wrong spot. Like that's indicative of the offense is still kind of getting it together. No, not everybody knows what's happening. Honestly, he's making the right reads. He's throwing the ball to open guys. He's just missing. And that's unacceptable. And I don't know why it's happening. If anything, it's because of the residual trauma on his confidence that last year left on him. And whose fault is that? That's where we're at right now. Because now it's bleeding in to what this team is now. Because you couldn't get it right. Because you thought you were smarter than everybody and hired Matt Eberflus. And you thought you were smarter than everybody when you hired Mark Trestman over Bruce Arians. And you thought you were smarter than everybody when you hired John Fox over Andy Reid. And you thought you were smarter than everybody when you kept Matt Eberflus, despite most people saying not to do it. And now Caleb's had his confidence ruined. I don't see it coming back yet. When I see it coming back, that's when I'll change my tune. But as for right now, I don't think he's the long-term guy. I would love him to be. It sucks that I'm seeing that right now. But he just still looks like a deer in the headlights to me. It still looks like the moment's too big for him. He's still missing receivers. He's still passing on reads. He still doesn't trust his protection. It all screams shattered confidence to me. And he was oozing confidence in college. So the fact that that's gone, is that coming back? It's hard to get a quarterback's confidence back. That could take years. And I don't have the time to wait for that. Especially not while we're losing games with our defense playing horribly and taking none of the pressure off. So, yeah, I just wanted to come in here and vent a little bit on what's happening, where this is heading. I think, man, this sucks. This really sucks. So, let me know what y'all think, I guess. We still have another 16 games. So we have another 15 games. 15 games. But yeah, not great. I don't think with this defense, I think Jalen Johnson's done for the year, they said. I don't think with how injured this defense is that this team is going to go anywhere. Even with the offense. Even if the offense figures it out somehow, this defense is just so bad that it's not going to... it's not gonna result in anything. I don't think. I think we're in for some heartbreaking losses this year. And yeah, it's frustrating to me, especially since this D line, which is honestly like you got Montez Sweat, Gervon Dexter, Grady Jarrett. Who else is even on there? Andrew Billings, and then Dayo Odeyingbo. That's a lot of money. I think that's our most expensive position group. And it's the biggest weakness on the team. They can't get the quarterback. They can't stop the run. What are we doing here? We're paying Montez Sweat like a top 12 edge rusher. And our guys that have before been really good, like Andrew Billings was playing elite levels in 2023. And like Gervon Dexter, he was my candidate to break out this year. Dayo Odeyingbo, they're paying $18 million. They're paying him $20 million a year. And so far, they've all looked like ghosts. Dayo Odeyingbo impressed me last week, did nothing this week. And I get that it's a good Lions offensive line, but that is a highly paid unit of guys that's doing nothing. And it's frustrating to me. And yeah, we're just gonna have to see what happens from here on out. But yikes. As this is already just all my expectations are just gone. Like I'm already starting to like think about draft position. And I've never been, and I don't enjoy being one of those people that's just like, yep, that's it, 2 bad weeks, that's it, season's over, I'm overreacting. But at some point, you gotta stop lying to yourself. I've done it for too long. I've made excuses for the Bears for too long. I've deluded myself into thinking that bad starts to the season can be turned around for too long. I've defended GMs and coaches for too long. I've defended quarterbacks for too long. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. And if this season and this coaching staff and all that is not going to work out, I'm gonna start having some conversations with myself over what I'm even doing here, putting as much energy and mental stress on myself as I do, supporting and watching this team, financially supporting them by going to games, buying jerseys, and like I'm on the season ticket wait list right now. I don't know if I'll stay on there. I don't see myself ever rooting for another team like as my number one, because it just wouldn't feel right. But I'm going to start dialing back because I can't keep doing this every year. I really can't. So, yeah, let me know what y'all think. Oh, gosh.